Hello everyone, welcome to a new tutorial from Maverick Excelsior. Alright, in this session we're going to see how you can increase the realism of your images simply by playing with depth of field. Let's open some examples. Here you have an image where the new depth of field parameter is being used, and you can see how the top part of the ring is in focus while the bottom part is blurred. Now we can see how it looks by default, and here with the blur applied. Here's another example. The main part of the ring is sharp while the background is blurred. Another one. If you want to emphasize a specific part of your jewelry, this effect adds a lot of realism. And here's the last still image example. Let's also take a look at some videos so you can see how the effect works in motion. Here we have the ring with the lower part blurred in video format. It looks spectacular. Here's another one. Notice how the background is blurred while the part closer to the camera stays in focus. Here's another one. And finally, in this last example, the back part is blurred and the front part is sharp. Now, let's head over to the Maverick Excelsior website and go into our dashboard. Inside the dashboard, click on Open Maverick Excelsior Editor. We'll open a few scenes to see how this works. Let's start with the first model. Drop in your 3D file, and let's set up some basic materials to work with. Go to Materials. First, let's change the diamond material. Let's set it to a ruby. For example, Ruby Madagascar. We'll lower the clarity to make it darker. For the metal, instead of white gold, we'll switch it to yellow gold. Great, now the scene is ready. Let's move to ambiances. In this case, I'll choose a marble floor ambience that I've already tested. It looks amazing. Finally, let's go to Settings and change the resolution. Let's set it to Instagram Square, which is the most suitable format. Now, we already have our scene easily configured and ready to render the image. But let's move on to the camera panel. Here we now see the depth of field option. Let's enable it. We also have Pick Scene Point. This lets us select the focus point. We can choose to focus at the top or the bottom, see, top or bottom. Let's set it to the top and exit. Done. Now, we can increase the radius. Let's type in, for example, 1000. It's important not to overuse this parameter because the effect can become too exaggerated and artifacts might appear. In this case, the setup looks great. Notice how beautiful the scene looks. If you move around, be careful. If you zoom out, the focus will shift and you'll need to adjust the focus point again. The best practice is to disable depth of field while you're still navigating, and only enable it after setting your final camera. Once your camera is ready, activate depth of field and set the focus point where you want. Perfect. Let's do another example. Let's drop another model. Here we have it. This time we'll only change the main diamond. Let's set it to a fancy orange. There it is. Now let's go to Pose and lay it down. Perfect. Let's bring the camera closer and position it there. Once again, we can go to Backplate and change the color, for example, this one. Let's also adjust the reflect color. In Settings, let's change the resolution and enable the floor reflection, lowering it a bit. Now our jewelry scene is fully configured. Let's head to Camera again, enable Depth of Field, and select Pick Scene Point. We'll set the focus on the main gem, either the background or the main gem. Now we have another scene ready. And finally, let's drop in another model. Here's our ring. Let's change the pose. In this case, we won't use the regular pose option, because with these symmetrical rings, it's better to use horizontal left. Here it is. Let's position it. Once again, go to Ambience and apply a marble floor ambience. For example, this one. In Settings, let's adjust the resolution and also scale and rotate the marble a bit. Now let's change the materials. I'll set the metal to yellow gold. Our scene is ready. Now let's go to Camera, enable Depth of Field, and pick the scene point. We'll set it on the front instead of the back. Let's place it here and increase the radius to 1000 so the background gets strongly blurred. And there we go. Our scene is finished. Let's do a video preview. See how great it looks? Alright, now you've seen how simple it island. Just play with the camera settings, enable depth of field, and adjust the focus point and radius. That's all for now. See you in the next video.